Righty-ho, this is for a new campaign, well, short campaign thing that we've started, that a friend is running to start the beginning of his new world. So this is a brand new world, totally original to him, which is very, very, very cool to see. And it is called, or this mini-campaign is called, A Tale of Three Warlocks of Taverns and Turmoil. And in this, we started as just the three of us, and obviously the GM. We have travelling with us is an Aasimar called Penant, a Dragonborn called Balazar, and my character is also an Aasimar, and is called Lairg, I think. Amazingly, noted all of their names, did not note mine, but I'm pretty sure he's called Lairg. So in this world, we started with us. The three of us were given invites separately from a chap called Macthanar. Yeah, Macthanar Cult sent us a letter each saying that he needed a hand with something. I can't remember the full details of the letter, but it was actually a very good letter. Macthanar's a very wordy person. He spent a very long time saying, just turn up and I need a hand with something. So the three of us independently, we don't know each other. We walked to the Whispering Sun Tavern, which I believe is Macthanar's tavern. Now, from what we were told, the Whispering Sun Tavern used to be quite a major stop for adventuring parties and people travelling to and fro. So from what we understand, the north and the south halves of the world have been split by something. I've not got loads of details on that. Just because new campaign, stuff will come out as we move along. And the Whispering Sun Tavern is just south of that. I think it's about 10 to 15 to 30 miles south of the Scar, which is actually visible. It does look like a force curtain of some kind. The image that we got was a kind of greenish curtain going from sky to ground and then parting the ground itself. But the Whispering Sun Tavern is a few miles south of that. So independently we headed there. The three of us met up as we were walking along. We happened to just be walking the same way. We made introductions. I met Penant and Balazar. So Penant the Aasimar, who's a relatively short Aasimar really, and quite a portly gentleman. And Balazar, who is a fucking huge Dragonborn. Like big boy, big boy. Myself, Lairg, who is a relatively short man. I think he's only about 5'8", so he's short king. We spent a little while just talking to each other, really, on the way to Macthanar's Tavern, the Whispering Sun Tavern. Just getting to know each other. Penant, from what I can understand as Lairg, so a lot of this is my perspective as Lairg. So if you're a player in this game, this may not be reliable, because Lairg is a judgy bitch. But Penant, I can't get a good gauge on Penant. As we were walking along, Penant seemed like a relatively jovial chap, but talked about his next drink quite a lot. I think Penant might have an issue with alcohol, or at the very least, Penant might have an issue with staying away from alcohol, and that certainly seemed to be the case when Balazar and Penant got running when we got to the tavern. But Penant seems like a nice bloke, if I'm honest. Yeah. Bit of an interesting one around the alcohol. We're going to have to monitor that, but other than that, that should be fine. Balazar seems to have issues with claws. Balazar, I don't think, has fully mastered paper. Balazar was given a map, the same as the rest of us. But Balazar's map had lots of holes in it, and I think it's where Balazar's claws were going through it, and he seems to be quite heavy-handed. Doesn't seem to have mastered the way of pen or paper, which kind of tracks with what Balazar seems to have been. Balazar seems to have existed mostly in the wilderness, and it seems to be lacking some niceties, shall we say. But again, seems very nice. It seems highly effective. But we go into the tavern, and this place is massive. This place is like 5 stories tall. And oh, great! So as we get to the tavern, I've never really been here, but I've heard of the Whispering Sun Tavern. It's like a legendary place that a lot of travellers used to head to. But as we're approaching it, it's like 5 stories tall, and it seems to have. It's only got one entrance and one exit, and it seems to be surrounded by a moat of some kind that's glowing green. And at no point in the evening did I work out, or did the rest of the pair, the trio of us, actually work out what that was. Very strange. So, yeah, we get there. A massive, massive, massive place, although it doesn't seem to be that busy in there. But we get in there, and we speak to one of the cults. We speak to I think it was a woman, although I can't really tell when it comes to dwarves. Because they've all got beards, heavy, heavy dwarven accents, and they look like they could all snap me in half. Especially the women. But yeah, we speak to a woman at what I presume is the reception or the foyer. She gets us sorted, she takes our packs, and they get put to our rooms. And as far as I can tell, everything here is fully comped by Macthanar, just because we're coming here to do some work for him. So we go through, we chat to one of the bartenders, whose name I forget, but he's a very nice chap. Gives us free drinks, has a very neat trick around pouring the pints. He doesn't move from his spot, the pint just kind of appears in her hand and refilled. Very, very, very cool trick. I'm going to have to try and learn that one. Could be quite handy. But we do spot Macthanar. He's hard to miss. Quite a boisterous fellow. Very, very, very dwarf. Very dwarf. But we have a quick chat with him. He gives us the lay of the land, both with where we are, what the crack is around here, and also where he wants us to go. So apparently he's having issues with, or has heard tales of, or someone's popped in, spoken to him, and there's like a farmstead or a town near, just south of the Scar, but not too far north of here. It is very, very, very close to the Scar, which is quite unusual. As far as I understand, most of the towns and cities and villages and just homesteads near the Scar were vacated like 100 years ago, 80 years ago, after the event. Big old fucking war. So apparently there's some weirdness happening there, which we will check out. We'll probably leave there, not tomorrow or the next day, but the day afterwards, I believe, because Macthanar wants us to wait to see if anyone else turns up, which is fair enough. He seemed quite surprised when it was just the 3 of us turning up anyway, so I think this might turn into a bigger job. Hopefully I can get Balazar to stay in front of me, because he's a big boy, big muscles, quite nice. And Penant can deal with the rest as well. So hopefully those two can stay ahead of me, and I'll sit back and support them from the rear. Easy. But the rest of the evening is spent. Oh well, okay. So the rest of the evening is spent hallucinating our tits off. Didn't realise this until we were there, but we decided to. This place is like 5 stories, and as far as I understand, there's like a bar per story, or it's like the story up and the story down is like a bar as well. Macthanar said some undesirables were downstairs, so naturally we go and have a look. Seems like good fun. As we get downstairs, we see a pair of Goliath. I think they're Goliaths. Very, very tall. One have very, very grey skin, so they could just be massive orcs, but they didn't have the tusks, and they're not really talking like this. And they could read, write, and didn't try to attack us on sight, which means they're definitely not orcs. They seemed fairly reasonable until it went off the rails. Oh yeah, until one of the Goliath walked through the fucking wall That was strange. So we get some more points. At this point in the night, I think it's like a long after midnight. We're well into our cups. We're fucking well hammered. Especially Balazar and especially Penant. Whoa. Penant needs to slow down, man. Because Penant's going hard. And I think we end up hallucinating. Or our hallucinations. I think we're hallucinating. I'm not 100% sure, but I open a door or someone opens a door. And a bunch of like hands. Or it's like a mound of hands grabs a bunch of us and we end up having to. Well, there was no option. I don't know if it's like a pet of Macthana or something, but we had to kill it. So we get really stuck in, and we get really fucked up by hands, of all things. And that's pretty much where we leave the evening, where we had just dealt with the big miasma or the bundle of hands. It was a good, like, 5 feet tall. This thing was huge. Came up to, like, came up to a good leg's height. So we end up dealing with that. And that's mostly where we call the evening. I'm very curious to know what happens next time on or in A Tale of Three Warlocks, or Taverns and Turmoil. This should be dead interesting. Let's see what happens next.